The air crackled with anticipation. Eerie green smoke billowed from the stage. Asatin stalked into the spotlight, his silhouette a jagged shard against the swirling mist. The crowd roared, a symphony of screams and chanting. He raised a hand, silencing them instantly. His voice, a gravelly baritone, echoed through the stadium. Are you ready for chaos? Asatin wasn't your typical K-pop idol. He was an enigma, a storm of contradictions. His tall, muscular frame was draped in black leather and chains. His face, handsome in a dangerous way, held a permanent smirk. One eye blazed with demonic red fire, the other shimmered with an angelic, almost ethereal blue. They were a testament to his heritage, a legacy woven from the darkest pits of the underworld and the most radiant heavens above. His parents, a formidable duo of demon lord and archangel, watched from the shadows, their expressions unreadable. The concert was a sensory overload. Pyrotechnics exploded in time with the bone-jarring music. Asatin moved with a feral grace, his voice a mesmerizing growl that sent shivers down the spines of his fans. He thrived on the chaos, the energy of the crowd fueling his every move. But even as he whipped them into a frenzy, a tiny prickle of unease danced at the edge of his awareness. Something wasn't right. Then a hush fell over the stadium. A single voice, high-pitched and desperate, cut through the silence. Asatin! Help them! They've been taken! A young woman, her face streaked with tears, stumbled into the light. She clutched a crumpled piece of paper in her hand. Asatin's gut clenched. He knew instantly who they were. The note was brief, brutal. It spoke of a shadowy organization, a vendetta, and a list of names that made Asatin's blood run cold. His siblings, the very heart of the K-pop world, had been taken. Idols, CEOs, bodyguards, all gone, snatched away without a trace. Fury, cold and sharp as shattered glass, coursed through him. He'd spent centuries distancing himself from that world, from the glitter and drama that had always felt suffocating. But they were his blood, and no one touched his family and lived to tell the tale. He stalked off the stage, his movements predatory, his face an emotionless mask. His parents met him backstage, their faces etched with concern. Go, his father rumbled, his voice like the rumble of an earthquake. Bring them home. Unleash the fury you've kept leashed for so long. His mother, her touch feather light on his arm, added, Be careful, my son. This darkness, it runs deep. Asatin nodded curtly. He didn't need their warnings. He could smell the taint of this darkness, taste the bitterness of it on his tongue. It reeked of envy, of twisted desires, of the kind of obsession that festered and rotted the soul from the inside out. He knew his enemies. They were the exes, the ones who'd clung to the edges of his siblings' lives, their hearts poisoned by jealousy and resentment. Open it, he commanded, his voice low and dangerous. His parents exchanged a look, a mixture of apprehension and grim acceptance. With a snap of his father's fingers and a whispered prayer from his mother, a swirling vortex of fire and light erupted in the center of the room. The portal pulsed, a gateway to the unknown, beckoning Asatin forward. He didn't hesitate. He would find his siblings, no matter the cost. The portal spat Asatin out into a cold, damp alleyway. The stench of garbage and despair hung heavy in the air. He could feel the pulse of his siblings, faint but steady, like flickering candles in a hurricane. They were alive, for now. He allowed himself a sliver of grim satisfaction. They wouldn't stay that way for long if their captors knew what was good for them. He moved like a phantom, his black combat boots silent on the grimy pavement. Years of training, honed in the fires of both heaven and hell, had given him senses far beyond those of ordinary mortals. He could hear the frantic beating of a heart a block away, smell the fear that clung to the air like stale perfume. His journey was a blur of dark alleys, abandoned warehouses, and hidden underground tunnels. Each location was more derelict, more sinister than the last. It was a twisted reflection of the glamorous world his siblings inhabited, a glimpse behind the glittering facade of K-pop stardom. He caught glimpses of his enemies along the way, faces he recognized from tabloid scandals, faces contorted with a mixture of desperation and manic glee. They were guarding their captives like rabid dogs, their eyes gleaming with a disturbing possessiveness. Asatin let out a low growl, a sound that vibrated with barely contained rage. They would learn soon enough that some things were better left untouched. Back at the concert, the atmosphere was electric. Fans huddled together, their initial shock and fear giving way to a nervous excitement. Asatin's parents had reassured them, their voices echoing with power and authority. Asatin was coming. He would save them. And to prove it, they had done something unprecedented. A massive screen, shimmering with celestial energy, had materialized above the stage. It showed Asatin's progress in real time, each heart-stopping leap, each silent takedown broadcast for the entire stadium to see. It was a live feed of a rescue mission unlike any other, a fusion of supernatural power and human drama that had the fans on the edge of their seats. Whispers rippled through the crowd. "He's incredible," one girl breathed, her eyes wide with awe. "I knew he wasn't just any idol," another whispered, her voice laced with a hint of fear. On the screen, Asatin moved with a lethal grace that was both terrifying and mesmerizing. For the first time, they were seeing the real Asatin, stripped bare of the carefully constructed persona he presented to the world. This was the Asatin that existed beyond the music and the stage lights, the Asatin who walked a path forged in darkness and light. And as they watched him fight for his family, their fear morphed into something else entirely, hope, and maybe, just maybe, something a little more complicated than that. The warehouse was a cacophony of sound and fury. Asatin had finally found his siblings, bound and gagged in the center of a makeshift arena. Their captors, a motley crew of disgruntled exes, surrounded them, their faces twisted into masks of hatred and triumph. Asatin didn't waste time with words. He moved like a whirlwind, his attacks swift and brutal. He was a blur of fists and feet, his every move infused with a power that was both demonic and divine. He fought with the fury of 1,000 suns, his anger a tangible force that ripped through the air. The X's, despite their numbers, were no match for him. He tossed them aside like rag dolls, his strikes precise and devastating. He showed no mercy, his only goal to free his siblings and unleash his wrath on those who dared to threaten his family. The battle was over almost as soon as it began. Soon the warehouse floor was littered with groaning bodies, their dreams of revenge shattered like broken glass. Asatin, his chest heaving, his clothes torn and bloodied, stood amidst the carnage. He turned his gaze to his siblings, his expression softening ever so slightly. It was time to go home.